Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and we're continuing our beautiful series of equality cages by gUBBLOR, and today we're looking at 104. Now, 104, the title is even the lines split their ... equally, and I just took a look at that and I thought, well, we're really going to struggle with this series, continuously thinking about equality, cages, splitting lines up. I decided not to try and play, drug consumers splitting their lines together equally, but I went for, I'm not sure you can call it an improvement here, sort of the unsavory elements of society, criminals splitting their loot and their winnings equally. Although you can see, the individual there in the middle really doesn't seem to be planning about splitting anything equally. He's trying to hoard it all. Well, that's not going to be allowed in today's rule set, which we're going to take a look at now. We have to have equality. So we have equality cages 104, even the lines split their sums equally by gUBBLOR. Now, you can see I had to shrink the font size quite a bit to be able to fit it all on the screen. So I will take you through the rules reasonably carefully. It seems to be a bit of a habit recently that the rule sets are either quite complex or there's quite a lot of them and it requires very careful reading of them. So I'll encourage you to do the same if you skip this bit. So the first rule, fairly obvious, normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, such that the digits do not repeat. Equality cages. Now, if you've not played this series before, I can already tell I'm going to struggle with this puzzle. So I'm going to point somewhere up here and say, go and play Equality Cages 101. It's probably the easier introduction. Or you can watch me fumble 104 and just, roll the dice with this one. But I think some of the other puzzles are probably going to be more approachable than what we have here today. So why am I saying all of this? Equality cages. So cages must have an equal number of low, in brackets, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and high, 6, 7, 8, and 9 digits. So imagine that this is 1, 2, 3, or 4. This would have to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. You have to have a low digit and a high digit. But not only is this the main constraint here, the second constraint that must be fulfilled as well is that there has to be an equal number of even, as in 2, 4, 6, 8, or odd, 1, 3, 7, 9 digits. So, for example, if this was the even digit, this would have to be the odd digit. And you'd have an equal number of evens, an equal number of odds, an equal number of low digits, an equal number of high digits. Notice in all of the examples that I've just discussed here, 5 is not in there because equality cages can never contain 5. One more thing that gUBBLOR has qualified in the rule set is the digits may not repeat in a cage, which is sort of helpful because you can see some of the cages, such as this one here, do actually cross. So, this is in a different box and a different column and a different row from this cell here. But we do know that this is going to be a unique set of digits in this cage. We have Kropki dots, so a black dot between cells indicates cells with a value of 2 to 1 ratio. I was playing around in this cage earlier, so if that was happening to be a 2, this cell which is joined by a black dot in this domino, this would have to be either a 1, as in 1 times 2 is 2, or 4, as in 2 times 2 is 4. Excuse me, let me say hello to my dog. Hey, Nini. Hey, cutie. Right, where was I? Not all dots are shown. So nothing stops me from having a 1 and 2 in here or a 3 and 6 in there. However, all the dots within equality cages are shown. So there is sort of a negative constraint in that these two cells cannot be in a 1 to 2 ratio. So if that's a 2, we already kind of knew that. This couldn't be, a 4 or a 1 anyway. It has to be a high digit. Good to know. Is that the last rule set? Yes, it is. Region sum lines. Now, you may have come across this rule set before. Now, digits along the region sum line have the same sum within each box the line passes through. So if you take this huge line that's in here, essentially what this is saying is that these three cells have a sum, I don't know, let's call it 7, and these two cells that are in a different box will also sum up to 7. This cell in here, which is only one digit, would have to be the total, which is 7, and then these three would have to sum up to 7 again. So that's the way to interpret these region sum lines. Now, do we have any line that dips into the box multiple times? It doesn't seem like it. It does say, though, explicitly that digits may repeat on a line, which I think is kind of obvious. You know, if I go with my 7 example, that would have been 124, that would have been 124. You're really going to have to, you know, use a lot of the same digits multiple times. So, this is the part when you decide, are you going to give equality cages 104 a go? Which you really should if you played 101, 2, and 3. Otherwise, you know, that's the last opportunity for you to jump back, play one of the easier puzzles up here. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock. Oh, excuse me. Link will be in the description down below for how to play this puzzle. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So 2 things I've learned from past puzzles. One is, because the cages can never have a 5, you can immediately place some 5s, such as this 5 here is the only place I can place a 5 in box 6. I know that the other 5 is in there, because in box 9 all of these are cages, and therefore just Sudoku, 5 would have to be in this column in box 3. Is that enough for me to do anything? Almost. You can see this 5 eliminates this row. These are not allowed. This is not allowed. This is not allowed on a black dot because 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 2 is 2.5. You can never have a 5 on a black Kropki pair. 5 is restricted to just these 2 cells. I'm not sure I want to take this any further, if I'm honest. I mean, let me have a think. Yeah, that's not very useful. Not very useful either. Yeah, I'll leave it here for the moment. Now, the other thing that I do remember, and it took me a while, I don't know why it took me such a long time to remember this. Let's talk about these black Kropki pair in cages. I'm going to ignore the ones where the cage is more than 4 cells, sorry, more than 2 cells. Let's focus first on these 2. Now, I'm going to say this can only be 3 and 6. And if you think about it for a second, why is that true? Because one of them has to be low, one of them has to be high. I don't know which one is which. So essentially, you're restricted to the sets 4, 8 and 3, 6 because they're the only 2 sets of black Kropki pair where you've got a low digit and a high digit. However, the 4, 8 doesn't work because they're both even. It's only the 3, 6 that has both an odd digit and an even digit. So in a way, they're kind of free. That's 3, 6 done. We don't necessarily have it anywhere else though. Let's keep thinking. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 in here, although technically I can't actually place 1, 2, and 3. Can I? Maybe. The reason I'm saying that is this is at a minimum 6, 7, 8, or 9. Although I think I'm going to struggle to make it a 6, because that would force 1, 2, 3 in here. That would force this to be a 3. And then if I get a 6, sorry, excuse me, let me explain why that's the case. That would be the 3, because we've already pencil marked 3, 6 in the column. That would be 1, 2. This would be a 6. This would be a 3. And if that's a 6, that would require a second 3 in the same column. Same box as well. So it's clearly more than 6. It could be 7. I can do 1, I guess 1, 2, 4. And then I would have either 4 or 1 in here. And that's a triplet, and that's a 7. That looks pretty solid to me. 8 would still be... I guess I couldn't do 1, 3, 5, could I? I don't think I can, so that would be the 3. That would be the 1, 5. And then this 6 would be with a 2, or this 3 would be, well, it can't be with a 5. So that would have to be the 2, 6, the 3 in here, and that's the 8. So, excuse me, 6, 2, 3, another 3. So that clearly 1, 5, 3 doesn't work. And 1, 5, 3 doesn't work. It doesn't add up to 8. Let's try that again. 1, 3, 4. So 3, 1, 4. That would be 6. That would be 3. That would be 5. Which was an option anyway. So 8 is certainly possible. And I'm assuming there are enough options for 9 to make this work. So I'm not sure I can restrict it any further. Anyway, I took a bit of a diversion. Let me have a think about the rest of this. So I don't think this is 3, 6. Actually, no, it could be. So what I'm thinking about this particular cage is this part of the line, you know, that's the definition of region sums, is equal to this part of the line. So you couldn't do something like 2 lows and 2 highs. You absolutely have to spread it between 1 high, 1 low, and then 1 high, 1 low. So one option could be, for example, 4 and 8. But then I'd need to have 2 digits that are a mixture of low and high that also add to 12, and they're both odd. And 5, 7 is not available because you can't have 5 in a cage, and 3, 9 is not available because I've already pencil marked the 3 in box 6. So a long way of saying this is also another 3, 6. And we need to get to 9 in here. It's not 4, 5. It's not 3, 6. It could be 2, 7 or 1, 8. Feels like a long list of things to have in here. So we've done 3, 6. It's either 1, 8, in which case this would be 2, 4, or 2, 7, in which case this would be 4, 8. So there's definitely a 4 in here, and they're both even digits. So I need 2 odd digits, and it's not 3, it's not 5, it's 1, 7, or 9, with a definite 9 in one of them. 2, 4, look at that. I can't do 4, 8, that would be 12, which I'd really struggle to put in a single digit. So that's not 2, 8, sorry, not 4, 8, this is 2, 4, this is a 6, this is a 3, finally 6 minutes in before the first digit goes on. Doesn't matter though, I'll take it. 3, 6, that's fine. And 2, 4, so that's not a 2, therefore it's not a 7, it's a 1, 8, and therefore this is 7, 9, and that's 2 low digits. Am I gonna color this? May as well. I think I'll need it at some point. 7, 9. It's quite a big total to get into these 3 digits, but I'm sure it's possible. Now this is no longer 3, 6. Not sure it forces anything though. This is either 9 and 7, 16, or 9 and 9, 18. And 3 cells, don't know, it doesn't feel that restricted. Do I know any of these? I do not. Sorry, there's a truck parked outside the house, so my dog is going to be a little bit on edge for a few minutes until it goes away. Right, maybe it's time to think about region sum lines in general. And actually, I'm thinking this region sum line that I was using in the beginning is actually quite restricted. And the reason I say that is, if this, so it's 3 cells long, and the minimum I can make that would be 6. 1, 2, 3, with a 6 in here. aside from the fact that there is a 6 in there, I think the biggest challenge we have is that we need 2 different ways of being able to make the same digit, at least. So I couldn't even make this a 7, for example. If I put a 7 in here, that would force me to put 1, 2, and 4. And look at that, I've got a quadruple 1, 2, 4 in there. So I think at a minimum, this is 8 or 9. And I'm really wondering if I can even make this anything less than 9. So notice that's the high digit, which means I need 2 low digits and the high digit that adds up to this cell. Now the minimum I can make this is 1, 2, as in the 2 lowest digits, 1 and 2, that's already at 3. And the lowest high digit I can use is a 6. And that gets me to 9. So that's a 9. That's clearly not 1, 2, and 4. This is 1, 2, and 6. Probably should have started here. I don't know why I didn't. 3 and 6. Because, you know, that couldn't have been a 6 in here as well, given what we've just pencil marked. Now I have 3 digits in here that add up to 9. There's a few different ways of doing it, so I'm not going to go down this route. The 9 is not 1, 8. It's not 3, 6. It could be 2, 7 or 4, 5. So notice, because we've got 1, 2, 6 and a 3, the lowest digit I can make this is a 4. That's the absolute lowest, forcing me to get to 5 in these 2 cells. Where I'm going with this, though, is that if this is at least a 4, and therefore these 2 cells are at least, you know, 1, 4, 2, 3, obviously with a 4 in here, that would be 2, 3 to get to 5 without repeating the 4. What I'm getting to is that these 2 have to be low digits, and therefore these 2 have to be high digits. And I'm really tempted to think about 3 6s again. I just don't know if, because, you know, we've got this 6, 6. We know that there is a 6 in here. So 6 is in one of these 2 cells, and you'd be very tempted to think it's in here. Now, because this is low and high, this is 3 or 4 with 6 or 8. So I'm already at 3. And then I have to get to 6. So it's either 1, 5 or 2, 4 if I use the lowest. The 1 can never be on here. So 1, 5, that's one option. 2, 4, that's another option, assuming that this is a 3. Now the other option would be that this is a 4 and I need to get to 5. And the only way that I can do that would be 2 and then 3, which isn't possible, because essentially I can't use 1, 4. I've already used it up here. And then 2, 3, can't put it in this cell. So this has to be a 3. This has to be a 6. And we now need to get to 6, which is either 1, 5 or 2, 4, both of which for the moment are available. Now, odd, even, we know we need to have the opposite here. Oh, we don't know what that is. Just going to leave it as all the options for now. We've done 1, 2, 3, 6. The only 2 options are available that are left is 4, 8. And actually this 2, 4 pair gives me the order. That's the 4, that's the 8, that's a 5, that's a 1. These are 2 odd digits. These 2 now need to be 2 even digits. It's the 8. This 9 actually gave me the 7, the 9, which now means I need a 18 in here. So this is actually getting a little bit tougher, but that's not a 5 anymore. In fact, I know what these 2 cells are. This is 7 and 9 to complete the row. What else do I know? I think this is it for the moment. This 7 tells me this is not a 2, 7 pair anymore. This 5 gives me the order. It's 4 and 5 this way. Kind of half tempted to think about the 5s, and yeah, it's about time I think about the 5s again, because that forces this 5 There's a 5 now in here. There's a 5 in there. 5 is in here. 5 is there. And then one of these two is a 5, and I can't tell which is which. 3, 6, may as well just tidy up my pencil marking. That's a low digit. So I need a 3 or a 4 with a high digit. If it's 3, I need an even digit, which can only be the 8, because the 2 6s are eliminated. So, but I can't do 3 6. The reason I can't do 3 6 is I don't have a black Kropki pair, and I need it. There's a negative constraint, and obviously I've got the 1, 2, and 6 in here. So 3 doesn't work. It's 4 with an odd digit. So it's 4, 7, or 9. And I don't know which one it is, unfortunately. I know there's an 8 in here. I need a 3, which is in there. And the loose 7, 9. Well, this 3, 6 actually places the 3 for me. That's a 3, that's a 5, that's an 8, that's the loose 7, 9. In fact, I actually know what it is. That's the 7. This is a 4, 9 pair. Still need another 2 and another 7, 9. Let's have a think about this for a second. So I'm just going to think out loud. When you have 3 digits, you've got one option, which is 2, 3, 4, and that's a 9. But because this is a 3, that's not an option. So I need to have the 1, which I knew anyway. And then what does it add up to? It's not adding up to 6. It's not adding up to 8. One option is 2, 4, and a 7. And that looks pretty legitimate, if I'm honest. The other option would be a 9. That's 7, 9. That's a 2. I mean, this was never going to add up to a 2. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier. So the other option would be a 1 plus something that adds up to 8. And 2, 6 is not available. 3, 5 is not available. And that's it. Can't do double 4. So that is forced to be 1, 2, 4. As strange as that sounds. And therefore, this is a 9, a 4, a 9, a 7, and another 9. I mean, another way of saying that would have been this 7 that's looking at this cell, but no matter. It's solved. Let's just keep moving on. 2, 4, looking at this, that's a 1. These are not 1s, that's a 2, 4 again. Have we got anything else here that solves any of it? Not really. Shall we keep looking elsewhere? We've got a 5 with something that adds up to a single digit. It's not 11. That's a 3, that's an 8, that's a 6. We always knew that there had to be, well, I don't know if we always knew. If this was a 9, we didn't necessarily have to have a 1, but now we need to have a 1 and then something that adds up to 7. And that something is, I guess I could do 2, 5, can't I? No. Yeah, no 5s in here, no 5 in there. So 2, 5 is not an option, leaving only 3, 4. And this 3 tells us the order. That's a 3. That's a 1, 4 pair, which I can't resolve for the moment, but that's okay. And that's the 8. This 3 now is a low odd digit. I need a high even digit, and I've already placed the 6 in the cage. Sorry, in the box. That has to be an 8. This is not 3, 6. This is also not 4, 8. This is 1, 2, or 4 with a 2 for sure between it. Look at this triplet. Now, this 1-8 tells me this is not a 1. That's a 2-4 pair. I know what these two cells are. You know, it's essentially to complete this column. So this is a 7-9, I'm going to venture. Essentially what I need to complete column 9. And then remember, this is 18, and this needs to add up to 18. I'm already at 16. That's the 2, that's the 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 7, 9, 2 low digits that are even, 2 high digits that are odd. I need a low digit. I've got 2, 4, and 3 all there. That's got to be 1 with... Looks like I broke the puzzle. How did I break the puzzle? Where did I break the puzzle? Here. These were 2 even digits. That was never an 8. That was a 9. Excuse me. Yeah, 18. Oh, that was a typo. I always said it's 18, and then just ignore the fact that it was an 8. And therefore, this is a 1-8 pair, which is totally fine. Except, yep, that 8 gives me the order. That's the 1, that's the 8. What do we have in here now? We've got 3, 5, 6, I'm going to say. Not 3, not 6. We've got a total now of 11, 14, 15. 15 in 2 cells is either 6, 9, which it isn't, or 7, 8, which it is. And then 15 in 5 cells. How did I miss this? Sleuth, what are you doing? How did I not? I don't know why I didn't start there. Anyway, excuse me. Right, so let me just rewind my frustration for a second. 15 in 5 cells is entirely forced. It has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no other way of doing this. The 5s are now lining up in box 7 and box 8. Therefore, these can't be 5s. That's the only place for a 5. That's now a 3. That's now a 6. And look at just how much tidying up I can quickly do now of all of these. Yeah. Let's not discuss it, I think is all I'm going to say. That's a 2, that's a 4. 5. So 1, 3 pair. And then we have 6, 7, 9. 7 and 9, that's the 6. That's a 7. Undo, undo. Yep. That's a 9. That's a 7. Are the 1, 3s resolved? It doesn't seem like they are. Okay, let's keep going. We know what this pair is. This is 5 and... that's the 5. Let's not think about it too much. And 7 or 9. Not resolved. Incredibly. What do we have in here? We need obviously another 7 or 9 plus a 2. And I cannot place the 2 either. So one option is this is 5, 2, as in 7, and this is going to be 7, which is 1, 2, 4. And that's not going to work because I'd have 1, 2, 4 looking at the 2. So this is the other 7 or 9. That's the 2. And therefore I need either a 12 or 14 in here. I really have to think about what this cell is. So it's not 4, 8. It's not 3, 6. Feels like 1, 2 would be too small because essentially I'll get to 3. then I need something like at least a 9, basically, which I can't do because that's 7, 9, 9, and then that would be 7 and then 5 to get to 12. So this is not 1, 2, it's not 3, 6, it's not 4, 8, it can only be 2, 4. I've basically eliminated all the other options, haven't I? And this 4 tells us the order. That's a 2, that's a 4, 2, 4. That's already at 6. So essentially it's 1 more than the 5. It needs to be 1 less than the 7, 9. That's 6 or 8. 1 less. The 8 is in the column, and that's a 6. And therefore that's a 7, that's a 9. That's 12, that's 12. That's the 1. That's the 2, and that's the 6, 6. Do I have any other freebies that I can fill in? Nope. I can fill these in, 9 and 7. I'll take those. Right, what do we have in here now? We've got 1, 7, and 8, I'm going to say. This 4 needs to be joined with a high odd digit. That's only the 7 in this setup. That's a 1, 8 pair. How is this going to be resolved? I guess through this 1, 8 probably. 8, 1, excuse me. 8, 7. Yeah, 1, 8, or that way. 1, 8. Right, forget what the ones are. Let's think about 2s. Well, let's think about what this digit is. That's a 9. Let's think about 2s. This is the only place for it. What else do I need? A 1 or 3. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 3. Bit of a slow solve, but that's the solution to today's puzzle. It's a lovely puzzle, gUBBLOR. I mean, every time I play your puzzles, I just kind of almost like learn about a new way about thinking about it. So the 3, 6s, finally caught onto those. The 5s, finally caught onto those. I'm still... And I think, you did leave a comment in one of the previous puzzles about coloring with more than just low and high to think about odds and evens at the same time. I really need to think more about that. But somehow I just totally got distracted with equality cages, ignored like some incredibly obvious region sum lines. This was obvious, this was obvious, this was kind of obvious. I mean, it's just, wow. Well, I guess I'm looking forward to everybody's comments. This will be a bit of a treat, I guess, for you guys. Hopefully it wasn't too frustrating with a lot of you shouting at your screen saying, Sleuth, pay attention. But I hope you enjoyed the puzzle. I'm fairly sure you enjoyed the puzzle. I'm praying you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you back at the next one. Bye for now.